Welcome back, everybody. It's great to be with you on this final day of the elective conference. It's quite a different atmosphere here at Nasrec. And, you know, it's amazing the emotions that we've been through standing here, because when you arrived on the first day, it was a feeling of anticipation, a feeling of who knows what's going to happen. Anything can go in any direction. So much has happened over these past few days. So today, one almost feels like it's, you know, things have calmed down. It's a bit of a wrap-up, but there are very, very unclosed matters that still need to be dealt with. So, you know, there's still always that. But the reality is that it is coming to an end today. I've got Zizi Kodwa standing with me, who has given me the assurance that this conference ends today. Zizi, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So it's over. I mean, we are going to end today no matter what.
You can see the excitement. Just look at my face. That we never thought this day would come. But all good things come to an end. We have no plans beyond today. The program is very clear today. We are reporting back to the plenary. We adopt a declaration. The president will close the conference. Yeah. Logistically, we have no plans to be here. If there is any other matter, it's a matter that can be dealt with by the leadership of the ANC. We now have a leadership. So the anxiety that we had earlier, we had all the palpitations, people had emotions, that is all gone now. We have a new president, we have a new secretary general, the entire top six. We're announcing the additional 8 this morning.
Okay. So this is, just to put us in the picture of what's happening right now, are they still voting for the NEC? Has the voting
completed? It was completed. We are expecting an announcement this morning.
Okay, so it's completed. Counting is now underway. Yeah. So we should be, when do you think the announcement will be made?
As soon as the first plenary session, that is where they will make an announcement, which will be an open session to you. Great. I think if we're able to convene a plenary by 10, that will be the first item.
Okay, so, I mean, that's moving swiftly now, because I think this is beyond our expectations. A lot of people were expecting more delays, although the issue of the Secretary General is still hanging. Not that, I mean, you were saying that the top six is there, it's been concluded, but the reality is there is still challenges happening. I mean, we've got the steering committee that met yesterday, a conclusion wasn't reached. They said they'd pick it up again this morning. What's the developments there?
I think what we thought we should do, instead of being speculative about what had happened, we'll wait for a formal report from the steering committee. If there are any other issue, because the steering committee is responsible for the running of a conference, if there's a dispute, I'm sure that issue, they will deal with it and give a report back to the plenary. We expect, when we meet this morning, to get a report from what is alleged to be a dispute, whether it's a formal dispute which has been lodged or there were discrepancies in terms of numbers. That must be presented to the plenary, and we'll await for that report before we make speculations.
Do you have any idea about those 63 or 68 votes? Why were they not included? What was the whole idea behind all of this?
There's a lot of speculations doing rounds. For example, even the number itself is 68, 63, others is 28. And we thought, which I think is important, we must say in public, let's wait for a formal report to be presented. If indeed there is such a dispute have been lodged, we'll wait for that moment. We'll communicate further if there is such an issue. At the moment, there's nothing that suggests to us that there is an issue that may suggest that perhaps there is irregularity or a dispute or a matter that must be taken by others to court. But if there is a view by other people who are not happy, the steering committee is there to deal with that issue.
Yeah, I mean, there was a report doing the rounds this morning that the votes were in. Senzo Mkhunu actually did get that position. The recount then happened on the request of Nomvula Mokonyane, and then it came back a different result. Can you confirm or deny that?
No, I have no knowledge of that. I don't want to communicate unmandated issues. If there are any change in the results, there is an appropriate structure that will announce that. If there is any dispute lodged, that issue will be reported at the plenary.
Right. I want to talk about the closing address. So we were throwing times at you like midnight, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you said no, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Okay. Is that what time we can expect to hear from the president?
We have no reason. Remember, our plans is that it's almost Christmas time. These people have got families. Yeah. These delegates, they are going to drive hours to Western Cape, about 20 hours. So we want to make sure that in our plans, at least we accommodate them. We have no plans to be late afternoon to be here. Around 3-5, we must be out of here so that we can go on with our lives, join our families, enjoy Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it is an important aspect. And I want to ask you, I mean, Christmas for you as well. You're the outgoing spokesperson. Would you avail yourself for this position again?
I always say a good dancer knows when to leave the stage. And I think I've reached that moment. As a good dancer, you know when to leave the stage. I think somebody else can do it better than me. I've made my contribution, I've done my part, and I think somebody else. Of course, the new National Executive Committee, when it meets in January, it will decide on the new spokesperson of the ANC sometime in January. If you were to ask me a question, if they give me an offer, I don't know. But I've done my part.
You've done your part.
I've done my
and
part.
what a difficult part it was. I mean, these last 5 years have been difficult.
The last 5 years for me, I must say it was a political school. I've really learned a lot, but a lot of difficulties.
Where was the most difficult moment for you, if you could recall it? If that moment where you just thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this?
There were times where even in the meetings of the National Executive Committee, where you think that the organization is now breaking. Even in meetings such as National Working Committee, there were moments it's like we're now breaking down. Sometimes comrades stand up against one another to an extent that you think that the meeting is going to be physical. Always that comes to your mind as a spokesperson, what do I say to the public when this happens? There were moments like that, critical, very sensitive issues, whether it's the issue of Nkandla, whether it's the issues that every day were taken to court as an organization. But also what worried me as most was this always allegation and the perception in public of a corrupt ANC. So you have a public almost perception which you are swimming against the tide in terms of that perception because it weighs against you. Although you know that the organization, it is incorruptible, the ANC is incorruptible. But if there are these individuals who do things in the name of the organization, it damages the brand African National Congress. We have to stand, speak on behalf of these individuals. You can see sometimes they are reckless, they don't care. You must take responsibility on their behalf. That is the most emotional side of it.
I want to talk to you about your time with the media because it wasn't nice listening to President Jacob Zuma almost criticizing the media for being too hard. And yet you've dealt with the media every day. That's your job. You deal with the media and the communication side of things. You've been dealing with us. There was a lovely press conference that was held with you and Gwede Mantashe as a final press conference with the SG, or the outgoing SG. Would you share the sentiments of the president when he was harsh on the media, which upset the media?
I think what members of the ANC and leaders of the ANC must not do. When, for example, we don't do things in terms of the constitution, and then people go to court, and court direct us to do things that we're supposed to do, like executive function, whether you're a public official or public representatives, we must not blame judges for that. Because they are the guardians of the constitution. They are helping us to do things that we are unable to do as directed by our own constitution. For example, if we don't do things in terms of the ANC constitution, others decide to go to court and courts direct us as the ANC. We can't blame the courts. Equally, the media, it must not be the mouthpiece of the ANC. We can't expect, in fact, we learned from the media. Media has helped the ANC. Some of the exposés that we would not have known as the African National Congress came from the media. Our relationship is contradictory and complementary, but that media relations between the ANC, particularly the leadership and the media, is very important. And I think we shouldn't, at the instant of disagreement, of bad reporting, or brush the media with the same brush and expect that the media will be all the love and darlings of the ANC. We must engage the media. Where we disagree, let's raise it, because I don't think we expect the media, like I said, to be the mouthpiece of the ANC, to say all the sweet news about the ANC. There are moments where they must be rough, yes, because they expect better from the ANC. When they criticize us, we can't say, why you're not criticizing others. They expect high moral values in the African National Congress.
What about the judiciary? If we talk about the judiciary, you mentioned the judiciary now. Do you believe, as was said again by the president, that there's a judicial overreach?
There were instances, I think those instances during our time under Secretary General Gwede Mantashe, there were instances where we think that a certain judgment, I think, is now encroaching in the other levels in terms of the three arms of state. But necessarily, not every judgment suggests that the entire arm of state is judiciary. Others call it counter-revolutionary and so on. We don't believe in that. Judges are judges. They are guardians of our constitution. They must interpret law in favor in terms of the constitution, because themselves, they're not above the constitution. And if they do make errors, that's why our jurisprudence, there's what is called a recourse. If you're not here about a lower court, an upper court may arrive at a different decision, but it's wrong to criticize judges because of one judgment, in your view, you think is right, and politicize it.
Yeah. Minister of Communications, would you take the position up?
Don't pray for rain. because you will complain of mud very soon.
Listen, it's been such a pleasure having you and working with you.
I will enjoy. I
We'll
will miss you a lot.
We're really going to miss you, but I've got a feeling there's bigger and better things in store for you.
Thank you very much.
Zizi Kodwa, the outgoing...
You've been a prophet.
Thank you so much. Outgoing spokesperson for the ANC, and as of January, that position, of course, is going to be filled. And if they make an offer he can't refuse, you never know, he might be back. But I don't know. Again, one of those speculative conversations that only the man himself will know the answer to. It's heading up to, what time is it? 7:30 here on the program.